happening, everybody? I wanted to make this video for a pretty long time. However, once again, this type of video requires me to be very open and honest about some pretty terrible times in my life. Some of you may not know what it's like to uncontrollably eat until it feels like your stomach is about to rupture and then continue to eat even more after that. If you have never binged before, then this video probably isn't for you because I guarantee you will not understand. Bruh, just like close your mouth and stop eating, like it's not even that hard. I wish it would have been that easy. However, I have never struggled and felt so hopeless as I did when I used to binge eat. I'm making this video because I told myself that if I was ever able to stop, that I would try to help others do the same. It's been a very long time since I binged, and I had to make sure that I was completely over it before I made this video. Do keep in mind that some of the things that I've done may not work for everyone. This is how I quit, and hopefully some of the things that I say may help you. At the end of the video, I'll go over my main tips after I've explained everything I did so that you have something to get started. This will also be a bit about my weight loss story because I feel that it gives a lot of insight to know about how I got to the points that I did get to. I guess a good place to start is from the beginning. How did this all start for me? It started right after I lost over 100 pounds. The heaviest I ever weighed myself was 276 pounds when I was like 18 or 19 years old, and this is what I looked like. I then moved out of my parents' house and started working at a pizza place, and that's when I really started to gain weight and became a whole lot heavier than 276 pounds. By the time that I was 19 years old, I looked like this, and I think this is around my biggest weight. I feel like it's somewhere around 300 pounds, but I can't say for sure. That's a big reason in a lot of my other videos that you'll see that I say I lost over 100 pounds just because I'm being very reserved with the amount that I lost, only because I cannot say for sure, so I'm not gonna overestimate anything. However, the lowest I ever weighed was 167 pounds, so I can definitely say that throughout my life I've lost over 110 pounds. But let's start from when I actually started to try to lose weight. When I was 22 years old, I had actually lost about 30 pounds from simply walking to school every day and working a manual labor job. I was not really trying to lose this weight, but it was the first time in my adult life that I was actually being active. After seeing that weight come off and people started to tell me, hey, you're looking a little bit slimmer, I decided to actually start to try and change my life. I was ready to put in some effort and see just how far I could push myself. I started losing weight in March of 2013, and by December of 2013, I was already down to 167 pounds. I was driven, but I became obsessed. I cared about nothing else but losing weight, and I was extremely restrictive with my food. This is why on my channel I preach so much about taking your time and losing 1 to 2 pounds a week. It's the healthiest way you're gonna lose the least amount of muscle mass, and also you're going to avoid an eating disorder, or worse, you're gonna end up in a hospital if you try to starve yourself down just to lose the weight as fast as you can. There were several days while I was losing weight that I could barely stand up without almost passing out from being so dizzy from eating so little throughout the day. Even after I had got to my lowest weight, I really had no clue how to eat. I feel like that's a lot of people's problem when they lose a lot of weight, and I feel like that's why we see so many people gain a lot of weight back, because if you do this crash diet and you lose all this weight, once you lose the weight, you have no idea how to properly eat. You didn't teach yourself about food. You didn't learn about how to eat properly. So I continued to just barely eat for about another month or two, and this is where my body really started to just reject what I was doing to it. I remember everything about the first time I binged. I remember waking up that night several times drenched in sweat and in so much pain because of the amount of food that I ate that day. I started that day as I normally did, but at lunchtime I decided, hey, I've been dieting for all this time, I deserve to give myself a reward. For the first time since I started losing weight, I wanted to give myself something that I hadn't had in so long, something that I used to eat all the time, and that was ice cream. I went to a shop and decided to get a few scoops, and I cannot describe to you how good that ice cream tasted after restricting myself for so long. My plan was to eat this ice cream and then go back to what I was usually doing, you know, go back to kind of not really eating all that much, being very restrictive, not allowing myself any junk food, but that plan went all kinds out the window as soon as I finished that cup of ice cream. This is the part of the video where I said if you have never binged before, you will not understand how somebody can do what I did. But when I got home after eating that ice cream, I ate everything in my apartment. I sat down and ate every bit of food that I had, and I had recently just went shopping. I guarantee you I had at least above 15,000 calories, if not 20,000 calories or more. I was in so much pain. I was laying in my kitchen floor holding my stomach, yet I would continue to get up and eat more food. I decided the next day when I woke up still in an extreme amount of pain, still very full, but I decided that it would have been a good idea to just not eat that day. If I didn't eat that day, maybe that would just reverse what I did the day before. Once again, that was a terrible plan because I had restocked my fridge from what I did, and the following day after not eating, I ate everything again. I would go back to the store and just buy junk. I'd fill salad bowls with cereal and chocolate milk and then sit on my couch, Netflix and chill with myself, eat the entire bowl and box of cereal, and then go right back to the fridge, grab a quart of ice cream and eat the entire thing in one sitting. And I knew that even after that was not the end of my day. I allowed myself to do this for several weeks. Binge one day, not eat the next day, binge again the next day, not eat the following day, thinking that at some point it would all even out and just stop. Until I just began to binge every day. I couldn't control it. I couldn't stop myself. It was this feeling that I had someone telling me to do it. I could not stop. I would go through drive-thrus, I would go to the store, I would just buy food, and it wasn't even an issue at the time of eating it. I could not stop eating. It was honestly costing me so much money. I had saved up a lot of money throughout college, and a lot of it went to these months of binging. It was a lot of money to eat tens of thousands of calories a day. It became this strange habit. Like I didn't want to eat this food, but in a way I also did want to eat it. I knew it was terrible for me, but at the time of binging, it was like nothing else mattered. I was in this euphoria of just food and sitting and watching movies, and it just nothing mattered. So that led me to binge more because I felt like I was empty when I was eating this food. It was just, I wasn't stressing about not eating it because I was already eating it. I went from 167 pounds to 208 pounds in under 4 months. I was pretty sure that I was gonna gain all the weight back. At this point, I had pretty much just given up. But also at this moment, I was still constantly at war with myself mentally. Every morning I'd wake up, I'd say I didn't want to do it. Some days I wouldn't, some days I would, and some days were worse than others. But I told myself I was not going to be another statistic. I could not be another person that lost this extreme amount of weight and then gain it all back or more. I wasn't going to allow myself to do that. So I decided to change things up. I stopped fighting the urges and just allowed myself to eat whatever I wanted to eat. And then I decided to get back into the gym. I had stopped going to the gym for a while because you feel so terrible about eating this food that you don't want to do anything, but I allowed myself to just eat what I wanted and then go to the gym because the gym made me happy. The gym is where I also didn't have to think about anything else except for what I was doing. And by me going to the gym, this stopped the weight gain. I stopped gaining an extreme amount of weight week after week because I counteracted it by getting active again and started to put on some muscle mass because I was eating in a surplus and working out, and it made it to where I was not rapidly gaining weight. I'd also read at the time of people who purged by making themselves throw up after binging, or going and doing this insane amount of cardio to try to counteract the amount of food that they ate. And I knew that I did not want to go down that road, so I didn't go into the gym and go crazy if I did binge. I just went to lift weights and feel good and be happy and just still enjoy the gym, enjoy exercise. Now, even though I wasn't losing the weight that I had gained, I was also not gaining it, but the most important part from me doing this, from me taking a break, is that my mentality and the terrible thoughts that I was having was starting to get better. Some of you may not know this, but I actually graduated college with a degree in psychology, and that degree actually did help me think logically about what I needed to do. From this point, I knew I had to do a few things in order to lose the weight that I had gained. I needed to take it slow. I needed to give myself an extremely good goal to fight the urges off when I wanted to binge, and I needed to not be as overly restrictive about anything that I ate. So I decided to start tracking my macros, my protein, fats, and carbs, because that way I could allow myself to eat some foods that I wanted, but also stay in control of my caloric intake. I focused each day on eating as many fruits and vegetables as I could, because if you give your body a good amount of micronutrients and you give your body what it wants, it's far less likely to crave and make you overeat and make you binge. This went well for a while. I got back down to 175 pounds. I was feeling good. However, I still did not have a good mental and good relationship with food. It was constantly on my mind. I was always thinking, what was my next meal? What am I gonna eat next? I'd wake up and just think about food. Again, I decided I needed a mental break. Quick side note, if you are curious at all about how to lose weight, I will leave a link below to a playlist of my top weight loss videos. I guarantee you these videos, if you've watched all of them, they will answer a ton of your weight loss questions. In order to give myself a break mentally and avoid the terrible circle of binging, I decided to go ahead and start eating more in order to gain muscle and strength. And I did this for like a year and a half. There were days throughout this year and a half that I did eat too much. There were a few days where I felt like I was not in control again. However, it was far less than what it used to be. And throughout this year and a half, this is when food stopped controlling me. I didn't think about it constantly all day, every day. It took a year and a half for me to finally feel like I was getting to be in a better relationship with food. Funny enough, something that actually helped me a lot is when Maria and I met. When she came into town and was staying with me, I never binged when she was here. I never wanted to do that in front of her. So a big tip is, if you are binging, put yourself around other people. I've talked to a lot of other people that have had problems with binging, and we all agree that it's something that we never wanted to do around others. I was ready to cut down again. I wanted to see, more muscle definition after all the progress that I had made after this time, and I was worried about, dieting, but I told myself I was gonna give myself 3 months. In 3 months, I wanna see how far I could push myself, and it went great. I did not binge throughout this cut. I didn't mess up throughout that entire cut once. I can honestly say that I finally have a good relationship with food. I eat when I'm hungry, and I don't look at food as this thing that is controlling me. So now let me take some time and sum everything up to give you some tips to hopefully make it to where you can stop binging forever. Allow yourself to become mentally healthy before you just spin in circles to become physically healthy. Pretty much all I mean by that is allow yourself to take a break from losing weight. Eat at a maintenance level of calories until you feel that your body is ready to again eat in a deficit to lose weight. And if you're curious about when you know if you're ready or not, if you start trying to lose weight and then a few days or even a week later you already go back to binging, you're not ready to start. And I still do very much believe that everyone should strive to better themselves, and I'm not saying you need to have a six-pack. I'm not saying that you need to share the same goals as me and get into bodybuilding and getting to, building muscle, but I am saying everyone needs to become healthy, get in a healthy body fat percentage so that you can avoid the obese related illnesses and stay out of the hospital at a very young age. Don't rush weight loss. Eat to where you are losing 1 to 2 pounds a week and no more than that. Avoid foods that trigger you to binge. Mine was always ice cream. Every time I would eat just a little bit of ice cream, I would overeat a ton that day. And I'm not saying that you're never gonna be able to have that food type again, whatever food type it is that may trigger you to binge. However, you need to avoid that food for now. Make sure you are getting an abundance of fruits and vegetables. That way your body is gonna get the micronutrients it needs to fuel your body properly, and it will ensure that your body has what it needs to be healthy. Put yourself around others instead of just staying at home and binging. Put yourself around a group of friends, or don't be afraid to talk to someone if you do need help. Set goals, strong goals, goals that will make it to where you will not want to mess up because you want to achieve whatever this goal is for you. Replace the action of binging with something else. If you feel the urge, you feel like you are about to want to binge, or you feel like you're telling yourself to go get some food, instead of going directly to that food, go do something else. Replace the action of binging with something like reading a book, going for a walk, playing a game, anything to avoid thinking of food. I used to go for walks a lot when I was trying to get over it. If I had the urge and I wanted to binge, I'd just go outside, walk for 5 to 10 minutes. When I got back inside, that urge was gone. Lastly, realize that it can and will stop one day. It will feel like you're a prisoner in your own body for a long time, but as long as you do not stop fighting, it will stop. I know this is probably a pretty long video, so I really appreciate you guys sticking around, and I really hope that this video can help someone that's struggling like I was. If you're still watching, please do me a favor, go on down, drop a like on the video, and share it because it can probably help someone out there that's also having a hard time. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already for weekly videos, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace. Is that clickbait if I say it's a new edition because we just got married and people are gonna think that it's a baby? I think I might even put like a baby as the thumbnail. Or is that too far? Maybe like a little baby. Like a small baby in the corner of the screen, just a very small baby. It's okay?